This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.
The foreign trade in goods statistics released by the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) shows that Nigeria has recorded a trade surplus of 5.1 trillion naira in the first quarter of this year. Now, this surplus comes despite a 16.34% drop in oil exports for the quarter under review. Joining us to speak to these numbers is Mukhtar Mohammed, an economist. Mr. Mohammed, good morning, and thank you for joining us on the conversation.
Thank you for having me, Steve. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you walk us through your reaction to these numbers? A drop in oil exports, but an increase in the trade surplus.
Yeah, Steve, when you look at that number, you definitely shouldn't be too surprised about what we see, because if you look at that number, Nigerian non-crude oil exports show strong performance. When you look at what they were saying in terms of crude, it was just crude export alone that dropped. When you look at other products, other oil products, there was an increment of about 134.24%. And also in terms of value, also there was a value increment, 32.07% rise from value, also from 1.91 trillion to 3.39 trillion. So these numbers are what is responsible for that trade surplus. Because previously, what you've seen is that the non-oil sector and also the other oil products did not generate so much. But in this quarter, when you saw that drop in crude oil, you saw that increase also, and those increases were very large in terms of percentage. So that was what was responsible.
Right. So now, despite this shift in our trade surplus, do you have any concerns over the drop in the oil exports themselves, primarily because Nigeria has a quota to fill as far as OPEC Plus is concerned, and also because the 2025 budget is based on a certain percentage of oil exports?
Steve, I think it was on your program I've said it that the 2025 budget estimate of oil production of 2.03 million barrels is over ambitious, and I still stand to be corrected. So you can see we are still struggling to meet OPEC quota, even if we are doing 1.5. But when you do ask condensers to it, we are doing 1.63. So definitely we are with this half of the year, we've not been even able to make 2 million barrels. But when you that again will affect it. Remember again, we are having those effects also in terms of the benchmark crude of about $75 per barrel. But we've seen a little shift in that since the crisis between Iran and Iraq and Israel. And so we have seen that crude has moved to about $78 per barrel, but also closed the week at $74 per barrel. So that has also helped us. But in terms of production quota, I am not sure. This is largely driven because some of our crude oil are already on forward sale, which means we've already sold them ahead either to the multinational or to bank like Exxon Bank, where we borrowed some funds from them to be able to stabilize our currency. So majorly there's a big challenge, and even in that report you realize that Dangote also is struggling to meet up in terms of crude oil purchase from Nigeria, despite the naira to dollar swap deal. But they are also importing crude oil to meet up with their local refining capacity. So the challenges are still there. Oil theft is the major challenge in terms of why we are not able to meet that meet those quotas.
Right. Now, it is a case of, this report is a case of good news, bad news. Good news in the fact that we have an increasing, a growing trade surplus. Bad news in the sense that our oil exports have dropped. Is it possible with this report to predict what the second quarter could show as far as just the overall look at the economy is concerned? You've talked about the situation in the Middle East, and it does play a role. But can you give us a sense of what happens going forward?
Yes, I think what will happen going forward is that if this crisis continue, if anything is, if what we hear from both Iran and Israel is anything to go by, we are going to have a long month of this crisis. We'll see those oil price continue to go up. So the next quarter, I'm expecting in terms of value in terms of value that will end will go up. But again, that is good news for the government in terms of adding more revenue to the foreign reserve. But that might be bad news again for the local economy. That means cost of refined petroleum product may go up, but that might not happen because of the current might go up for the short term, but that might not happen because of the current policy decision that was rolled out by Aliko Dangote Refinery. But that will not happen until August, so we might just see that price movement a little bit if this continue. But it might not be so much because of the naira to dollar swap deal. That for me, that's one. Then two, what I think will happen, and this is what we've been craving for. If you look at that data, you realize that so many African countries are beginning to look forward for crude purchase from Nigeria, and this is outside the refined petroleum product. You see countries like South Africa, Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, and Ghana, our neighbor, next door neighbor. So that means that we are also beginning to conform to international, looking at the international market and begin to readapt ourselves to make sure that we do more trading with our local partner, being the largest oil production of crude oil, largest producer of crude oil in Africa. So that is good for me. That's what I see, and you can see that we are developing new trade partners. We are looking. It used to be Spain before now, but you can see that India is leading in terms of purchasing of Nigerian crude, followed by Netherlands, France, and Spain that used to lead has come down as far as forward. And United States used to be our largest purchaser of our crude. They are now almost just 779.3 billion barrels. So there's a lot of good things expected in the second quarter, but I think the second quarter will be largely driven in terms of volume. I don't think we have so much in terms of trade surplus, but in terms of value, I think value will go up in the second quarter. That's what I expect.
Mr. Mohammed, thank you very much for your time and your expertise on this conversation. Mukhtar Mohammed is an economist who joined us this morning to speak on the trade surplus, an increase in Nigeria's trade surplus for the first quarter of 2025. This report is a part of the National Bureau of Statistics overall report, which considers Nigeria's economy in the first quarter of this year.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.